that Bruin has been arrested. This is probably like at least the 10th time.
It's a very D&D thing to let one member of the party be arrested so everyone else can do the quest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Just
besides, like,
antagonizing that thing. I was sure it was going to taser hammer you.
I was totally willing for that to be the case, because the more I distracted it, the more likely you guys would have been able to keep going. But like, this is not the first time that he's been arrested. Like, he's a shit disturber. Of course he's been arrested.
He's not.
Like,
he's not a thief or anything. He's just annoying. He
Yes.
just pushes people's buttons, and then they arrest him.
And the thing is, he knows when to do that, probably too, to the point
He
where
managed
it's
to
like,
frustrate a robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clockwork robot.
In that moment, developed a sense of feeling and like
Look,
being
if I have
sentient just to be
facilitated the
frustrated.
robot uprising, I am okay with that.
When the door opens, much larger than the other ones, actually more reinforced than the other ones. You see inside the dome, it is dark, but you can drift maybe a dancing light inside, and you're urged to step inside, but the door closes behind you. And then a large light shines in the center of the room of a very large mechanical crystal eye. And around it is a head, a single-eyed skull of metal and technology with pipes that go off into the room around it. And its eye rests on each one of you, and it's got crystal parts and many lenses that all shift and move as it looks and processes each one of you. And it says, "I was not expecting guests on such a prestigious day, but..."
Actually, part of the reason why we're here. There's other guests.
Explain!
There are other guests, and I'm actually going to minor illusion an example of what the creatures looked like when they were incorporeal, and say
The eye, like a real eye, you know, it focuses and tightens the pupil, and even leans in a little bit. It seems like it's tied to the back of the wall, but has quite a bit of motion.
These entities, and there may be others that aren't quite exactly like this, but incorporeal, seem to want to do something to the city. They have been controlling some of the governors. We had to defend ourselves from them. We destroyed one of them, but another one got away. And then your governor friends showed up and got angry at us for being down here. Anatoly sent us down here, or at least sent us to investigate what was happening and to try and stop it.
Give me a persuasion check.
Ooh, I wish I lied in there so I could use deception.
Also, my name is Jeffrey.
Yes, add a lie.
The Matrix, its eye kind of relaxes, and it leans back slightly. You are telling me there are incorporeal creatures trying to infest the city, infesting my governors, threatening the peace.
Yes.
Well, we can't have that, can we?
Nope, that's why we were down here to stop them.
Oh, I'm gonna divine sense, like right now,
Oh, no.
within 60 feet of us.
Nothing.
Okay, good. Oh, thank fuck. I just had that weird panic.
But with that, I will inform them that these incorporeal creatures can possess your bodies. They can possess you. Imagine what would happen if that were to come to pass.
That would explain strange readings. Then we must recall every single governor in the city and make sure none of them are possessed, and then continue from there.
That sounds like it will take a while. I'm not sure we have that long.
How long do you think we have?
They have a purpose in mind. They deliberately came down into the governor tunnels, even though it was hard. They had to force.
They are looking for something. What are they looking for?
They're primordial in nature, something elemental. Maybe something to do with how the ship, air elemental. Maybe something to do with how the city flies.
The city has nothing to do with elemental air. It is far
But the
more
magic
than that.
keeping it up might.
It shakes its head, which makes this big, shifting, clicking noise. And kind of laughs a little low in its throat. Says, I will recall all of them to a warehouse on the surface. You will be able to look through all of them, see if they are possessed, and I will make sure that none of them leave. If you see a governor that is not heading towards that warehouse, then very much they are possessed. You can also look through the tickers outside, any anomalies. If you can find the ones related to those already possessed, then you can tell which are possessed. And if they can possess governors, then most likely they can possess people too. So, if they are not in a governor, they are in a person, or they are incorporeal.
Are you able to tell if there are governors still active down here that shouldn't be when you do that? For example, if we recall all the governors, then they might be free to do what they wanted to do down here.
Unless they have a way of locking off the maintenance systems that keep log of their places in this city, of recalling back to me. But I do not think that's the case, because some of them have been acting strangely already. And I have been able to sense that. Every single thing that happens, every single thing a governor sees, a governor does, goes through my eye.
Have you ever seen like a rock, like about yay big? And
I will actually minor illusion what it looks like.
Probably has some like weird symbols on it.
Never.
Can I roll insight on that?
Yes!
Oh, I'm trying to think of a good way to explain what they might be after.
He has seemingly seen it. It's hard to tell because it's a giant one-eyed robot. But there's a cockiness about that.
Because it's impossible for it to be a coincidence that these creatures of elemental air are coming here, and we believe this extremely powerful object is also here. So that seems so unlikely that these events are unrelated.
There's no such thing as coincidence, merely many variables twisting in the fate of the universe. I offer you this. I offer recalling every governor in the city, making a risk to the safety of the people in this city, so that you can search more thoroughly, so that you can see anomalies. I give you this, not because I have to, but because I am willing to help you.
My concern is that these creatures were trying to get into the center of the city. They broke through the doorways to get here. My concern is that when we leave to go investigate the rest of them, that you'll be vulnerable.
I am far more advanced than those imprinted of goblins and giants. I am imprinted of a creature so powerful the process taxed those involved. I will not be possessed by a creature of smoke and air. Though I am charmed that you worry about me so. And if I am possessed, then you can simply drop this whole container and damage the whole city.
Very well.
Cool. So, do we want to go find Brewitt and head to this warehouse?
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, that's our next move, yeah.
The door opens. And so does another one, like across the hall.
Yeah. Go this way to get out, please. Okay. I guess we go do that.
Yeah.
You start walking out. The doors start opening on the way out of the city so that you can travel.
Keep marking chalk along the way.
Barut, you're thrown into a prison cell.
I'm talking mad shit the whole time.
Madman shit or mad sass?
Sass.
Okay.
Just,
the governor stopped
feeling like
reacting after a while, just pulling you along, locks you in the cell, which actually has like a full like glass wall and a metal door instead of like bars.
Okay.
And throws you in. And
did they take my stuff?
Yeah. Well, they take your bags. They won't take your armor. They'll take your like your bag. Anything easy to grab. They're not gonna take your armor.
Okay.
That would require.
Did they take
like,
my shield?
Yeah, they would have. Because you said you'd like lean it on your back and everything. Basically anything that's not your armor.
Okay. Good to know.
Or in or under your armor.
Okay. Well, I still have my gold then. That's good. I have that like tucked in like a fanny pack. Like I know.
I bet you do.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, no, like it's totally like hidden under the armor for just avoiding thieves.
You're wizened. You've traveled the world.
Yeah, I've been robbed a few times. Okay, good to know. Is there anyone around me? Do I see anything?
This is a brand new city. You see a whole bunch of cells, and there's no one else there. There's this one. There's quite a few of these enforcer governors here.
Okay. I'm gonna knock because it's a glass with metal, right? So I'm gonna knock on the glass and just politely wait.
It takes like a couple of times knocking for it to turn. It's like, do you require food or water?
Yes, please.
Which,
if possible, both.
It will leave and another one will take its place watching you.
What's your name?
We do not have names, we have identification numbers.
What's your identification number?
IX59.
IX59. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Burrowit.
I know.
I know you know, but it's still polite for me to introduce myself. Are you familiar with cultural norms?
It just turns away.
See, now that right there, that is what we would call rude. And see, that is something that if you're wanting to present a very customer-friendly, a very individual-friendly place here.
One of the smaller ones runs up, and occasionally you see them talk to each other. The enforcers speak, the other ones don't. There's kind of a little bit of a metallic whining noise that goes back between them, and you see its shoulders slump a little bit, and it opens your cell door. It says, "You are free to go."
Is the water and food coming first, though?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take that on the go, then. Do you have any containers that I can use to carry it with me so that I might walk and eat and drink simultaneously? I'm a very busy man.
You are. It's a gnomish city. Absolutely. Given it would come in Tupperware.
Perfect. Excellent.
A nice porridge.
I'm very glad that you guys thought of me leaving with this food before I even left. That's very thoughtful of you. You know, I take back what I said about this not being a hospitable city. You're doing good things here.
Both
now,
the big enforcers that leaving the smaller one that kind of looks and leaving.
And I'll look down at it and I'll just say, "Don't worry, I'm not going to talk like that to you," and just walk off.
You're actually you're in a completely empty part of the city where the prison is.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. What's the weather like here?
It's clear skies. You're going through clouds right now as the city is still rising.
Want to know what the weather's going to be like?
Oh, yeah.
It's still going to be nice and clear.
Yeah, nice and clear. No sign of any forming of clouds around the area that might be suspicious. Good. Glad to hear that.
Is the air getting thinner?
That's
not noticeably.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's quite a slow ascent. You're not finished yet, seemingly.
Yeah, I'm going to be walking back towards the hotel as best I can. I've been in a lot of cities, so I feel fairly comfortable, especially since it was based off of Elvish design.
It's Elvish design. It's mostly empty. You can get back there.
Yeah.
You would actually find these lot on the way because they're allowed back to the surface, and there's thoroughfares through the middle of the city that you'd have to go through. You find them coming out of one of the tunnels that opens for them. No crowbar
I'm gonna hand
inside.
Tobias the rest of the porridge.
Oh, great.
In case you need a snack.
Yeah, thank you. It's very
There's like some crickets in the porridge. Nice and fried.
Oh, that's right, no.
Yeah.
bitter stuff.
Gnomes like
Is this
bugs.
like Snowpiercer?
Gnomes just eat bugs.
Cool.
Do you have any luck?
Yeah, well, so you know how like the governors in Istana were all like goblins, like they're imprinted off goblins, I guess. That's what I inferred. I don't know really what that means, but they're like goblins. The one here in the middle of town, the big boss, has one gigantic eye, a very large head. I don't know what that's about, but he said he was imprinted off of something else, so I'm assuming they found a big-eyed creature that thought very highly of itself and used that as the brain for this whole situation here. Anyways, he was willing to cooperate. All of the governors are being recalled to a warehouse.
Where we can
go and inspect them.
You can give me a history check, Barut. I know you're straining over there.
Also, he knew. Oh.
Every time I roll history, it's just bad. It's just
Oh.
bad. I need the books in front of me is the problem.
He knew. My brain's just had a complete brain fart. He knew about the crystal, right, and lied to us about it, right?
He lied. It seemed that he did know, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
You insight checked it.
Tobias did. Then Tobias called him on it.
Yeah, that's also worth mentioning. Is that he definitely knows of the airstone, but he lied about it.
So we can assume it's here. He will
It's
likely
for sure
take
here.
actions to try and protect it then.
Right. I'm just confused about why he lied about it. I guess he doesn't really know who we are, but yeah, that makes sense actually. He probably doesn't want to just tell random people that came into his house where the most valuable object is.
Especially when one of their friends was just arrested.
Yeah.
My brain has just put together some things that I hope is not the case, but I'll leave that be for now.
Oh, no, you've got to tell us about the conspiracy theories, Tesh. That's what D&D's all about.
I wonder if the
guy who designed, the guy who designed the city didn't know about the stone, but this thing does. And this thing's based off something that's very arrogant and likes to. Oh, this could be bad.
What's wrong with a flying city that has a robot beholder in the middle of it that runs an army of goblin robots? What is wrong with this sentence?
Like, I feel like I've literally
possibly
seen
go
this
wrong?
movie before, and it ends with all of us dying. Like, this warehouse scene is literally just about to be the scene from iRobot.
I haven't seen that movie in a long... I've not seen that movie, like... When I saw that movie, it looked good. That's how long ago I saw that movie.
Yeah.
And it never looked good.
We need to find the deviant.
Look, it's either going to be that, or it's going to be a scene from The Walking Dead where we all get run over by mindless creatures that, kill us by ripping us apart slowly.
Just Drim become human.
Okay then.
Yeah. So,
Don't open the clockwork inside.
we should, we should talk to Anatoly.
Well, I think we should go
Yes.
to that warehouse. I
Where's
guess
the
it's gonna
warehouse?
take. Oh,
It's going to take a
It's
while
over
for him to
there.
get there.
I want to insight check Tobias knowing where he's
Look
going.
where all of them are going.
You know, Tobias. You know he just pointed.
I'm actually going to look and see where the different governors are all going.
Yeah, you can. You don't even need to make a check. You can see some of them that are on the maintenance ones. Most of them aren't using the tunnels. They're just all going towards a part of the city that is, where the hotel was and the main station. then there's the prison, then the other third would be where this warehouse is.
Okay. Is that where Tobias pointed? No. Just as long as we're clear on that, I'm just going to pat Tobias on the back and say, I want to stop by that hotel first.
You go far enough in that direction, you will get there eventually.
Or
I like the idea
walk
of
off into the sky. One of the
Tobias
other.
points one way, and behind him you just see Virik pointing the other way. It's a good point, actually.
I know what the Earth is.
What are you doing? What's going on? I missed.
We're gonna go to the
go.
hotel, I think.
You go
Yeah.
to the hotel. You can hear the music and the laughing and stuff from outside. You can
I
see
just want to try and pull Anatoly aside.
the light. Yeah, you can come in and pull Anatoly aside. He's got a flute of champagne, and smiles wide, and he's like, "You have not had a drink yet. You really should. I trust that you sorted everything. You wouldn't come back without sorting everything out, would you?"
I'm gonna kind of crouch down beside him and whisper in his ear. It's very far down for me, but I'm making it happen. And I'm gonna whisper
How to
in his
talk
ear.
to short people.
Yeah. Robot beholder, huh? Like, robot man with eye. Giant head. What's that based off of?
I'm not necessarily privy to disclose how the imprinting process works, but it is the heart and the intelligence that will keep the city running safely and defensively.
Your mainframe knows about the gatestone that we were here searching for. Did you?
I don't know. I know a lot of things. I don't know anything about this gatestone. I can tell you that in honesty.
I'm just gonna nod and then just say, enjoy the party. We'll be back.
Oh!
He does not know anything about the gatestone.
Which is
Hey, but as you go, he actually goes, tomorrow morning, I will show you the Brightwood devices. I will show you with certainty that they are not powered by this stone.
and we are looking forward to it, but we still have some hunting to do first.
He nods. By this time, his elvish construct steps up behind him. And Tobias, you notice that these things don't blink, but it's definitely staring at Barut. Almost longingly.
As we kind of walk out, I'm gonna nudge Barut and be like, I think that robot likes you.
What do you mean?
Are you single?
That's a very odd question. You know that.
Look, all I'm saying, I don't get involved in a lot of these things, but I see what happens, and that thing is looking at you the same way that shopkeeper was looking at Virik, and we all know how that ended.
I'm gonna turn back around and walk up to Anatoly. Your friend here. You said friend.
Yes.
Imprinting process?
Somewhat different. This was before. She's before all of that. Not before it existed. The inventor of the imprinting process was doing it for hundreds of years, not necessarily successfully to start with, but in war you make do with what you do. This was after the war, but before I invested heavily in the imprinting process.
What or who was she imprinted off of?
A very good friend of mine who was deathly ill.
What was your friend's name?
I'm not at liberty to discuss.
I simply ask because your friend is looking at me in a way that my friends have noticed. That is disconcerting to me.
She is different to the others. I'll have a talk with her.
No. That's not what I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. I'm asking for a reason that I don't want to hear, but I'm just curious. And if it's not a name I recognize, I will drop it. I won't ask any more about it.
you're not the first historian who's come to me. There was an elvish historian who came across the sea named Althea. We became very good friends, but there was a sickness on the land, Zalstella, the continent of Zalstella she came from, and she caught that plague. But I could do nothing for her. People here could do nothing for her, but I could do something for her.
Burwitt doesn't say anything. He looks at this construct and...
The construct actually has a very similar expression, like with its hand in front of its mouth, that you do.
I'm gonna pull out my locket. And I'm gonna show it to the construct.
And the locket is...
Yeah.
It cries, kind of like a streak of oil down the faceplate. And Anato's like, you knew her? In life? What are the chances? I'm very sorry you had to find out like this. Rest assured, we did everything we could. She's buried on Istan, a lovely little plot by trees, flowers.
Burwitt just nods.
Althea kind of rests her forehead against yours, if you let her.
Yeah.
Well, I will leave you to it. Festivities. He will, before you even reply, he just goes back to the ball. Noticeably to the bar.
Well, I'm just gonna kind of go over and clasp Rude on the shoulder and be like, we will grieve later. We have a job to do for now.
I'm gonna hand the locket to Althea and then clasp hands shut. I'll be back.
She nods.
And Brewitt's walking real slow.
Oh, yeah.
If that thing that you met is arrogant and causes damage to this city in any way that it causes damage to her. You said it had an eye?
Eye. One big one.
Well, I'll be ripping that from its skull.
It let one thing slip. Its chamber can be removed from the city. It'll damage the city, but it can be dropped.
Keep in mind that everything we say in front of the machines goes through its mind. So we might want to
she's not connected to the network.
I know she's not, but they're around.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Heading towards the
he
building.
doesn't know that. Yeah. My bad.
Good. Then it will hear me, and it will hear what I have to say. And if it does, good. It deserves the warning. It now knows that I have a personal stake in this. Burrow just walks towards the warehouse. And clearly pissed.
Virik has the great joy of being the awkward friend who has an upset friend but doesn't know what to do.
If we pass any buildings that are of any height, I'm going to quickly shimmy up them to look around for governors that aren't heading for the
Acrobatics,
the warehouse.
Perception.
Yeah.
You make your way up. You don't see any. They all, most of them seem to be at the warehouse already. The last few are just going in. And when you get there, big open warehouse, hundreds of the governors.
Oh dear.
Must be around 200 of the little ones, 100 or so of the bigger ones, and much more maintenance ones, waiters, more specific jobs. More specific ones are a little more advanced. And they all kind of look deactivated. You know, they all kind of like just are slumped, kind of sleepy.
The one that I saw down before we knew that they were there, it looked like it had shadows behind its eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of cloudy shadows.
Oh, if you want to give me like a...
That's not good. I clicked that by accident.
Actually, you know what? What I would actually also do is I will do a little minor illusion of what I saw behind that one's eyes when it caught my chakra.
Yeah, the best way to describe it is like the crystals are usually clear, yellow, glowing, whatever color they are. This made it look smoky inside, you know? So if you want to look through their eyes, give me an investigation check.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah, you probably all want to do that. Take a quarter.
What I want to do is get into the middle of them. And I'm going to channel divinity, which is something Aelinor has never done.
Oh.
It's never come up. I can turn fiends.
As I'm walking through them, I am going to actually now cast Detect Magic as well.
Awesome. When you channel divinity, you sense nothing. There's a rattling. I imagine there's almost a blast of air around you, but no Vashara leave any of the governors. When you lot are going through, you detect no sign. Now, using Detect Magic on these things is a little confusing, but most of them have very little magic. It's mostly clockwork. You sense no stronger. If there are governors in that are possessed, they are not here, or the Vashara is somewhere else.
Not here.
Okay, good.
Ruit just walks out.
And Virik would do that sort of nod like, all right, yep, okay, yep. We need to find out, they have to be going for the stone. It's the only thing here that would make any sense. Why would it lie about having the stone or knowing about the stone? This is like outside the warehouse, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Just make sure we're not.
Like you're following Barut as he's walking wherever he's walking.
He's not walking anywhere in particular.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
he's just bouncing stuff off off Brute to try and make him think about something else. Make him think because he's good at thinking.
You can probably tell that Barut is not thinking right now.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he's
trying.
got something on his mind, and he's not.
It's everyone but Barut would start to feel the exhaustion of a long day's work. It's the middle of the night right now. You're actually high enough up that you can. The city seems to have stopped moving upwards. There's quite a stillness. You can actually see the sun rising on the distance. It's quite pretty if you stand at the right spot. But you all are starting to okay, now they're not there. You're just starting to feel the exhaustion start to set in. You know.
Maybe we should rest for now.
Oh, yeah, we don't really
Nothing's
have
happened yet.
At the very least, if that thing is on our side, it's looking for them now as well.
I feel the only reason it would lie would be because it is
arrogant enough to think it can protect it on its own.
Exactly. It needs it for something as well. It might rely on it as a source of power, if not to make the city fly, but for its own.
It was very quick to say there was absolutely nothing on the city that would interest the elementals or primordials. I think it very much knows what's going on, and I figure it's things that can either stop them or it's that important to the city. I have an idea. I think I might try and go revisit our meeting in my dreams.
It's not a bad idea.
You'll have to do that on your own. Barut will say, and he'll hand you the notes that he has for doing the ritual. And he walks off.
At this point, back at the hotel, you do have rooms.
I set an alarm at all entrances.
It's like, because it's like 4 rooms on the one side of a hall, so you couldn't alarm.
Do they have like
the whole
connecting
hall.
Doors? Or
they would in this kind of place. They absolutely would have connecting doors between
the
two side ones, not the
Double
middle.
buffered. So
Before-
2 doors. Each one has to be unlocked for you to pass through.
Yeah.
Before I
I've been in a
try,
hotel before.
Exactly right. That's what I didn't think, but like it totally would have that system. So.
Yeah.
And I imagine it would be Barut and Virik and then Tobias.
before I try this, do you guys have any ideas of things I should either ask or look into in there? I figure I'm gonna take another shot at.
Honestly, I want to just know why it would lie about.
That's what I'm thinking. The biggest thing for me is trying to get it to arrogantly talk about how well it can defend it, and try it that way.
The augury that I'm doing is if we tried to take the gate stone, would we succeed?
Wheel and woe.
Classic augury.
To be fair, I'm usually a little more, little less mysterious with augury. It's commune is a great time. Commune is glorious. All right, Virik. Please give me a religion roll.
Yep, this is go great. Oh,
Nice.
You're practiced at this now.
You enter your meditation, and this comes more naturally to you, Virik, because you actually do pray to the goddess of dreams, not with the utmost devotion, but with respect, right? Which perhaps goes even further with an elvish god. When you let yourself drift into a trance, it's quite a sudden shock when you enter the chamber again with Aenlor, with Tobias, and you kind of are back into the body as the Matrix is talking arrogantly, voice booming.
okay.
What do you say?
I'm going to say, if you know about this Gatestone, what makes you think you can defend it when we had an army and we couldn't defend the other? I'm lying deliberately.
I have an army far more mighty and unharmed, and even if they are possessed, such pitiful creatures could not possess me. To get the Gatestone, they would have to go through me.
Okay. That was a lot of information. Thank you.
With that, the
Here's a quick question, and this
I heard the key thing.
What color is the beholder's eye?
Yep. That's actually what I was about
It's
to
actually
say.
kind of yellow. There's a multitude of lights coming from the middle of it, but there's also a glowing inside its mouth as well. There's a lot of glowing going on. It's a gnomish clockwork robot. It glows.
Yep. Running theory now. Gatestern's inside it.
In the eye of the beholder.
Oh God.
You wake up in the morning when you kind of get up and poke around. You actually notice a governor coming into your room, laying out a breakfast.
Ooh.
And all of you have that. Clearly they're back in operation because you didn't find anything.
Burrowit's not in his room in the morning.
There's a breakfast laid out.
Yeah. He's not having it.
There's coffee involved.
No. Coffee is still rare. But there would be fruit juice. It'd be a nice fruit juice.
All right, it's a solid B+ breakfast.
A very peppery sausage, toast, butter. Maybe a little too much butter. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, agreed.
It's all right.
Cool.
Considering you've mostly been eating like ship rations for a while.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's all right. It does the job.
Just scoff it all in. Do we get seconds?
Well, you might have to go downstairs to ask for seconds.
No, you just have to go into Burrowit's room because he's not there. His
yeah.
is on the floor.
Yeah, if when you go into Barut's room, there's an extra breakfast and no Barut.
Crap. Go to the others. I would tell them that Barut's not here. I would tell them what I learned.
He needs time.
Yeah. I suspect I have an idea where he is, but we should at least check up on him just to make sure, even if we don't intrude. So I'm gonna go try and find Brute, and I should have written down her name, but I didn't because I'm a derp.
Okay, well, more accurately, where are you gonna try and find him?
Oh, that's a good point. I guess I go to the office of the house of the guy. House of... once again, I closed my thing with names to Anatoly. The other names.
Are you taking the rest of the other two with you, or just you?
Up to them if they want to come. I'll tell them where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get back to business immediately afterwards.
You head up to the middle of the city. Anatoly's manor sits very highly, kind of on a little bit of a tower that appears to be kind of the administrative buildings. Of course, it's all empty. There seems to be a place where maybe there would be guards, but there aren't. You can straight up go up and you can press a doorbell. There's quite a bit of a delay. Maybe we're like, no one's going to come before Anatoly rushes to the door. And it's like... you're awake, and he's like in a dressing gown, kind of some bags under his eyes. Usually my friend opens the door for me, but she's not feeling up to the task, apparently. So, what is it?
Are they okay?
I don't know where... She does what she wants. She helps me because she wants to help me. I don't know where your friend is, but I know that she's just in her room. The library.
Okay, then.
I can take you if you want.
We'll look at the other two.
With that shrug, he will lead you to the library. Now, Barut, the library had a window. Would you have made your way 100%. In? Yeah, exactly. He's like, 100%. He's not here. Opens door to the library. They're both there.
I have a I've gone specifically and I've looked for a copy of the book that the two girls in Thundrel were looking for, so I could show her this stupid romance story.
You absolutely find it.
Yeah.
And Althea doesn't speak. But you can tell there's an excitement around books, which was completely in her. Even if some of this seems hollow, that is still very much true. And she starts reading it excitedly and faster than you could ever read. And Anatoly just like drops his pipe. Like, well, I guess he is here. I guess people are just breaking into my house now. I need to. If only
breaking
the governor
in is such
guards.
a strong word. I didn't have to break anything to get in.
Considering the circumstances, I will let it slide.
Thank you for your hospitality.
You're welcome. If you want to see the Brightwood devices, I can show you whenever a lot of you are ready. Just let me get my trousers on. You will head upstairs.
I'm looking at how she's reacting to the book.
It's weird because there's no... She doesn't even have a mouth. Like, most of the governors have, like, sort of a jaw. There's just, like, a no mouth. It's just a blank faceplate. There's sort of a differing glowing in the eyes that you're starting to piece together is kind of like an attention. You can see what's interesting to her more on the page and whatnot. And she actually follows, kind of like she used to do in life, she follows the words with her finger. She's one of them. And she still does that. So you can follow her as she's reading, and you can read upside down because you're smart. Yeah. But it's hard to tell. You have to read it all physically. And it's not all exactly the same because she's clockwork. But remarkably lifelike.
The idea is it her? Everything I'm showing her, I'm trying to read if it's her.
You get reactions that were exactly how she would react. But in other moments, there's an emptiness. It's not completely her, but it's some or most of her.
Okay. I am going to do something really quickly. I just need to find the right name. Caldicus. There we go. I am sending a message to Caldicus. Have you found a way to bring back the dead as they were?
Increasingly, I find it hard to find test subjects for my little plans, but increasingly.
Once you perfect it, let me know. I'll be in touch.
There's actually a delay, and she says, "That worries me about your state. Look after yourself." And I will.
Good.
I mean, I would just be sitting there silently waiting.
Yeah.
And not stand awkwardly in the doorway
Yep.
any longer.
After, 10 minutes or so, Anatoly comes back dressed and claps his hands together, breaking the silence, like, right, now I know I said that I would not be sharing the particulars, but considering I just want you to make sure that I'm not hiding this anywhere, and maybe for your book it might be interesting to show a little bit of how things work, and it is interesting. It's very interesting. It's remarkably interesting.
Urwood is still like just mapping every reaction in the eyes of this.
Very stands up very deliberately. Okay.
That'll be great,
Like-
thank you. Yep.
Yes.
Yes, are you all coming?
Yes. And Burwit will stand up and he'll grab his notebook, which was on the table, because he's been noting down every single reaction, trying to map everything. And he'll turn and in Elvish, he'll say, "Will you be joining us?"
She actually clutches the book more tightly and just keeps reading.
And
It's actually one of the things she seems very distressed.
yeah.
This would be her after hearing some very bad news, he will lead you towards one of those giant metal orbs in the underside of the city. And when he opens it up, inside there's these maintenance... It's hollow in the inside. And there's these walkways. And in the center is a very large chunk of a bluish rock that has these purple veins crackling through it. And you almost feel energy coming off of it. And it is connected with these almost chains that keep it in place. And he says, the Brightwood devices are actually very genius technology that I've invested in acquiring quite heavily, and remarking on its invention. This is Breachstone. It is a rock from the breach, the scar in the center of the main continent of Jarviskjir, that defies physics. Now, the Brightwood device, this stone, and he kind of goes to one of the areas of the wall where there seems to be a panel, and he actually takes some of it. He like flicks a disc of it up in the air, and it just kind of like floats there. It when properly channeled remains perfectly still in space, but you can adjust the space around it. This city flies, and our airships fly by the balance of the breachstone, and we merely push around it. Now that Drim is stable and high, there is nothing but the breachstone and its magical properties that keeps the city afloat. It is remarkable. And while it is very difficult to get a hand of some of it, it can be gathered from the heart of the breach, and we have much more of it in backup for airships. We're going to be sending exploratory ships off over to the Sky Islands, which I theorize, and I like to call them Skylands. I theorize these Skylands are actually connected to the breach, because there would be a lot of Earth, and if whatever caused the breach, and I'd have no heads or tails, it would have launched parts of rock up that, if they have the same properties, would have... Are you following this?
Yes.
So, and he continues explaining, but more or less, it's not elemental air. It's whatever is powering, whatever the breach is.
Yeah. So Bruid is writing down literally all of this. You guys would notice he's still not focused, but he's doing that
kind of
thing where,
autopilot.
Autopilot, for sure. And writing it, literally just writing everything that he's saying down.
Word.
He's not even necessarily following it, but he is following it enough to write it all down for word. So he can refer to it later and maybe actually understand it. Does Bruit, would he know anything about the breach and what happened?
You can give me an Arcana check, and actually, no, give me a history check with advantage.
Okay. They're the same modifier.
But they're a different roll.
They are. That's better.
Oh.
It's the first time I think I've rolled well on history in this campaign.
You've read theories about the breach because you're a sailor. You've sailed around it, and especially coming from Zalstella, hearing about there's an area you have to be very careful sailing around because strange things come out of it. But when you're thinking about it more, it actually snaps you back to reality. You feel the presence in the back of your head, and you feel a memory that is not prominent enough. But you feel that you know. That other part of you knows what happened to the breach, what caused the breach. Because it remembers the breach wasn't always there. And it remembers what happened to cause it.
Well, that's a problem for another time.
Now you can give me an Arcana check now.
Yeah. No. No.
The actual properties of the breach.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the breach stone, clearly whatever this glowing purple is, and it's the same of that aura you saw when you used detect magic. It's coming out of it, but it's a type of magic that you've never sensed before, ever.
Interesting.
Let me get this straight. These crystals...
They're stone. They're stones. It's a mineral.
There is actually a very distinct difference between the two.
Right. So the rocks that you have here, and you put them in these round things, causes the city to fly.
There's a lot more science behind it than that, but actually, we had lift to make the city fly, but this keeps the city in place. Airships, they have sails or they have propellers. I prefer the propellers. The sails are useful in some ways, but they need push. This keeps up. This keeps the whole thing up. And they're very powerful.
Oh,
That's okay. That's about as much as Tobias would get from that anyway. So
yeah.
you froze.
It's just
here.
role playing. My internet is just leading to more role playing.
I
Basically, the gist of it is this keeps the city up. It doesn't give lift.
Right.
It just gives in place.
Well, look. I mean, I'm no learned scholar like Baruit here, nor do I have any interest in pursuing such things. But I gotta tell you, it's pretty neat.
I'm not really a learned scholar either. I'm self-taught.
Best
Right.
people
but
are.
you learn things, and then you put them in your book.
But learned generally implies taught by someone else.
Well, you were taught by lots of different people.
Depends on. Hey,
Like that hornet
I'll
you
let you have
encountered
it.
when we were back in Slave
Sure.
Cove taught you that you might have an allergy.
that's true.
And the
That was
swarm
a
of hornets
valuable
you
lesson.
encountered taught you that you definitely have an allergy.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Valuable
does
lesson.
Baruch not like wasps? I love wasps. They're very interesting creatures. They have a hive mind. It's very interesting to see the queen wasp.
Do you keep them?
No,
don't
but
keep
I've
wasps.
been considering once the city's more afloat, getting quite the apiaries going.
I would recommend keeping them separate from the city. There are people who do have allergies to them and could die from the sting.
There are people like that.
You've told him your weakness.
Bruit's building up a resistance. He'll be fine. Famous last words.
Well, that's really the tour. The Gatestone, elemental air, unrelated to
I'd
this.
love to know what goes into imprinting. You obviously know close.
It's almost an alchemical process that helps the clockwork machinery move. I know how to use it. I have encouraged the process. I've acquired much more information about it, and I don't run it myself, but it's really a mystery of how it works. It's one of those great magical accidents. The inventor sort of happened upon it while thinking about things, and it's been more perfected as the process has gone on, and more brains have gone through it, because you can't just trust one head to think about something this important.
Do you know who the inventor was?
And I do. Salni Isodia Defixis. Kook.
Bruit writes down the name very quickly.
He
and just
invented
says,
it, but he definitely did not perfect it.
The inventor hardly ever perfects anything. It's iteration that perfects.
It's opening the door. Iteration, exactly. The team that created the Matrix, a much better program, although the same imprinting process, the same targets. We use kobolds for the smaller governors, and those are capable of maintenance. They follow orders quite well. Borvar for the larger ones. And I have been given concepts of other creatures. Some people on the imprinting team want to get a hold of a dragon. I think that is quite unlikely. Maybe a
That would
wyvern
be a
if we
poor
are
decision.
very lucky.
Why don't you use gnomes?
Well, that would just be brutish.
And also, they're too free-spirited. It wouldn't work.
Hmm.
Not well. Not for what you're using them for.
It works best with beasts, but they don't follow orders correctly. But in the city, there are people who keep clockwork hounds and things that are very, very impressive. With these more intelligent ones, you do get into a problem if their memory disks are not replaced often enough, but that's fine.
And if there are perhaps other factors introduced
they
that would
Are
otherwise...
possessed, yes.
Yes. And perhaps if they have something else introduced into their system that might perhaps make them more arrogant than they should be.
there's a lot of experimentation that goes into imprinting. Hopefully, I hope to champion much of it here.
I'm concerned about your mainframe. I mentioned to you yesterday, it knows about the Gatestone. I know you don't.
But it is worrying that it knows something I don't.
Exactly. I believe it's protecting it. I believe it thinks it can protect it. I think it's wrong.
I think most importantly, it lied about knowing.
I will have to talk to it myself. It cannot disobey an order from me. It is programmed into the process. It cannot disobey an order from me. So,
I'm very careful with your wording.
Do you think you get to do some sort of monkey's paw thing?
What on earth is a monkey's paw?
Oh, well, it's a story. I got a copy of it in my library.
I will have to take a read at some point.
There's
but,
stories about jinns who give wishes, but they twist that wish into a mockery, and they do it for joy and fun, and because they can find out. Are you suggesting that my matrix would do that?
Especially if it was possessed by something, an element of air. Yes.
You seem to be able to find these possessed things. They give off They can be traced. They can be quantified.
Yes, of course. I'm not saying that's the only reason it would do that. I'm simply suggesting that's one reason why it would do that. It could just be a total, what's the word? And I'm going to search in my brain for the Elvish word for asshole. Yeah.
What a
and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it in Elvish, and then just say I don't know what that word is in common.
It bears not.
Asshole.
There it is.
Thank you, Tobias. I always count on you for the more common translations, because that's a word that translates from common to Elvish, you see. Very interesting.
I will
We
talk
got a lot
to...
of those in Slake.
I will talk to the mainframe. I will talk to the matrix. I will learn more about this. Okay? Okay?
May I come with you?
Yeah, may we come with you for this questioning? Because that thing gives me the fucking creeps.
I feel like it would be more receptive to just me.
What if we
The
sit
fact that
down
you're
and ask
concerned at all about this thing that's supposed to be obeying your every word, it being receptive, is a concern in and of itself.
But it is a miracle of science!
Every miracle of science has its risks, but that doesn't mean that you should take those risks.
No, you're right.
alone.
You're right. Perhaps you could follow me. What is the common word? Incognito.
Wait.
Bruin
Yeah?
is like searching his brain for the translation. He takes him a moment. In disguise. Silently,
yes. we're
without
good at this.
trace. Right.
Again, the fact that we have to disguise ourselves against this thing that's
Concerned.
supposed to be under your control
And
is
you know
very
what?
concerning.
With that, I think that's a perfect place to end off today's session. What a wild ride!
Oh dear.
Ruit's looking for a way to raise the dead. Everything's going well.
I knew that. Isn't it useful that you made Caldicus your friend?
Yeah.
Make friend with a friendly necromancer.
I also noticed that my character sheet was on the bio tab today. When I opened
What?
and I never leave it on the bio tab.
Who
so I
would
was
do
like,
such
oh.
a thing? Maybe there's
Oh, no.
a possession going on. Hey, why don't we end the stream off with our circle of shame? And who do we start with? It's the Dungeon Dad.
Hello, that's me. I have a YouTube channel, self-titled, because that's what you do when you're a YouTube cat. On Dungeon Dad, you can find all kinds of videos about Dungeons and Dragons. I just put out a video this week. I put out a video every week called Monster of the Week.
You put up a video for New Year's week?
I did. I put out a video. Came out like 4 days ago on the 2nd
Wow.
or whatever that was. Yeah, it was about the Namorador, which is an Australian Aboriginal myth. about
Really?
meteor spirits that come from the Feywild and try to rip your heart out. It's a good time.
Very applicable.
Yeah, so if that's interesting, you can watch that. I don't know what's going to come out this week. That's what I have to decide tomorrow. So
It's a mystery. It's a secret to everybody.
it is a secret to everybody, including myself.
Best kind of secret.
Yeah, if you like D&D, you're a DM, you're a player, you just like cool monsters and stuff, go give that a check-a-rooney. That's it.
Why don't we continue our circle with Aaron?
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm tired. I hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday and New Year's. I'm glad to be back. And yeah, that's all. That's all I got going on.
Yeah, no, you have the short one at the moment.
That's
Just
fair.
wait until you release like a novel. You can sell it as much as you want.
There you go.
God, who would do such a thing?
So much work.
Hi, I'm Tesh of the Tesh Tube. You can find me under that name on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And I'm finally back from the undeath of being sick for 3 weeks. I'm still sick, but I'm well enough that I'm probably going to start streaming and doing all the things again this week.
Of streams, and I've never been privy to a Tesh stream because you've like never streamed when we've been friends.
I'm actually going to start doing morning and afternoon streams on different like days. So
That'll
because
work perfect.
it's going to be so much easier for me to stream at like my times and like my night times. So yeah,
Stream when you can, and the people will come.
yeah.
Speaking of people coming, William,
I was trying to figure out which part of that you would use. Didn't expect that part.
Go on.
you should always expect the lewdness.
Hi, I'm Will. You can find me at twitch.tv/WillNGraham. You can also find me on Twitter in the same place. Sure. That didn't quite make sense. Don't worry about it. Cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Nothing that I'm quite ready to talk about yet. Though streams should be happening a little bit more regularly now that I'm actually also healthier. Yeah, I had stomach problems, not throat problems though. So, you know.
It's all human beings are just one long tube.
Yes. Correct. That's how science works. And you also will hopefully in the nearish future be seeing a book out from me because I officially, as of New Year's Eve, finished writing it. So 10:38 a.m. on New Year's Eve 2018 was the last word that went into that book.
An artistic, writery thing for you. And you may see me streaming and painting some of that stuff.
Which is really cool. Yeah, actually, one of the things that I will be doing that I can talk about is I will be building a website for the book and series so that people can take a look at history, content, and things like that. Because eventually, what I'll be doing is I'll be putting up all of my stupid little notes about the book. Not everything, because I can't divulge too much or you'll know too much. But cool little things like different flora and fauna in the world that are unique to the world. The map, once Ollie finishes creating it, will be up on there, as well as hopefully some city maps, but we will talk about that more. Ollie and I will talk about that more in the future. When those
Get your credit card ready.
Yeah, look, we'll see. We'll see when that's happening. It will be happening. It's a matter of when. Yeah, no. So some cool stuff coming
Hype
for that.
for the lore, because that's what we like here. We like the lore.
Stay tuned, because a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Announcements probably later this month. So, yeah.
Speaking of cool stuff, the cool dude is here. It's me. My sunglasses aren't within reach. Otherwise, I would have put them on. Yes, they are. Ah. It's me, the cool dude. On this channel, you get many things. Okay, let me start this brain thought over. It's very late. I'm very tired. If you like lore, if you like D&D, this show is here for you. This show is supported by Patreon, patreon.com/OllieSmithArt, I think. It's linked down below. If you support the Patreon, you get access to an extra show. And there will actually be 2 extra shows. Another show will be starting soon. That's right, an extra show starting soon. If you want more Jarviskjir, there is one game Wednesdays, but there's also one on Patreon. That is a similar level to this, going on the other side of the world. And the other game starting soon will be Vampire the Masquerade, the new edition, which will also be a podcast on Patreon for $5 plus supporters. On this channel, I'm also playing Pokemon Go and doing art streams. If you want to commission me, do let me know. Also, lore, I am still looking for people who want to help me fill out an Oliverse wiki about Jarviskjir stuff. That is something I really want done. Will reminded me of that sort of thing, but I just don't have the full time to do it. Anyone who wants to help me, do let me know on Discord, because there's also a Discord down below. Did I miss anything? I think I got pretty much everything. VODs are on YouTube, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully, what more could go wrong, right?
Everything.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.